What happened with you in the past is over with. And you do not have to keep explaining to people what you came out of. I'm making this video message because there are many of us, we definitely have been brought from some very difficult, humiliating, or draining situations in our lives. And what happens is that there are people who have watched certain things go on with you and they've seen it play out. They have seen you at your worst. They have seen you struggle. They have seen you go through the humiliation and embarrassment. They have heard things about you. And when you get to a certain point, unfortunately, there are people who will bring up what they saw or know you went through. But I'm making this video message to tell you guys, don't allow anybody to continuously still bring your past up to you when it's over. Now, in some cases, you will have to discuss the past, because talking about the past situation or a cycle can sometimes be demonic, but it also can be conducive to a conversation depending on who you are talking to. Depending on the situation and depending on who you're talking to, sometimes the past has to be discussed or deferred to, because it gives the person you're talking to a better understanding of who you are. In order for someone to understand you, in order for someone to connect with you, in order to somebody to understand the method to your madness, or how you do things, or why you are built up the way you're built up, being the man or the woman that you are, the past with you has to be discussed. If people don't understand what you came out of or what you came from or what you went through, it's going to be very difficult for them to get along with you. It's going to be difficult for them to understand you. It's going to be difficult for them to even know how to deal with you. That's going to be difficult for them. But when it gets to the point that you are around people who are constantly bringing up your past, they are constantly browbeating you about your past, they keep reminding you of who you used to be or where you came from. What I find odd, this is very unusual just for me, and you guys could speak on it if it sounds unusual for you too. What I find weird and unusual is that some people, they will continue to bring up your past, and they will talk about a hardship that you had at one point. And that's weird to me, because have we not all had a hardship? Have we not all had something go on in our life where we had to walk through some trials, we had to walk through some tribulations, and outsiders looking in, they expected you to act a particular way or to take a certain action to deliver yourself out of it, not understanding that the rabbit hole of that situation went down so much deeper than what they saw. You don't know everything about a situation with somebody's past. You can get information on them. You can even see certain things playing out. But when I tell you that demonic forces are real, that demonic cycles are real, that generational curses are real, if you are a man or woman and you do not know God, or you do not know the word of God, or you have not experienced certain attacks from the enemy, or you have not experienced certain attacks from the dark and evil forces and principalities, there's not really a lot that you can say to me or certain other people you come across. You're not going to understand that realm. You're not going to understand it. You as an outsider looking in, you're going to see, okay, this person went through that, but they could have did this, because if I was them, that's what I would have did. This person is saying that they didn't do this because of this right here, but they're making an excuse. Let me tell you something. When there's a real attack on someone, it does not matter what they do. It does not matter how much they fast, how much they pray. It doesn't even matter if they have access to certain resources. It's an attack. It's an attack. And the weapons of warfare are not carnal. Your physical body and intellect and what you're doing in a physical sense is not always going to be able to fight something spiritual. That's what I want you guys to know in this video message. Excuse me. That's what I want you guys to know. The weapons of warfare are definitely not carnal. But I want you guys to know, when your past keeps coming up with people from back then, people in your old neighborhood, people you went to school with, negative family members, you got to cut it off. And see, when you begin to correct and check people, like, okay, listen, why are we having a discussion about this? Is this conducive to the conversation? Are you going to talk at me, or are you going to talk to me and get further understanding as to why my movement was this way in this situation? What I find also is that it's weird, because people will be overly vocal about your past and your situation, like they had to live in it, like they had to experience it and walk through it. That's unusual to me, because I'm not going to be overly vocal about somebody's past when it wasn't me that had to go through it. So I'm telling you guys in this video message, listen, excuse me, guys, I'm going to tell you, when you have to go through something and God pulls you out of it, it is not going to look the way that people feel it should look. And excuse me, guys, I'm just trying to connect something. It's not going to look the way people feel that it should look. I could tell you guys that I know that for a fact. You know, it's not going to look the way that people feel it should look. It's not going to look the way people feel it should look. It may look like it was more you could have done while you was in that situation. But if you had to live in a certain situation, or you experienced something, or God told you to walk through something in particular, people don't know what it is that God had you walk through. They're just an outsider looking at something in front of you play out. They don't know what God's divine plan is ultimately for your life. And when people don't know that, they talk out of turn. They try to go back to what they know you came out of and say, this is the reason why you're at this place now. Because when you were back there, you did this, this, and this. And in some cases, it could be certain decisions that you made. But if that person or those people did not have information and knowledge about the entire situation, if those people don't know what God have told you you have to walk through and go through for him to prune and mold and cultivate you, or for you to get your level of humility and for you to learn some things and for you to mature and grow, that's an individual thing. Outside people will never understand that. That's the video message. Well, guys, I know it's sad for you because it's time for me to go. The Lord willing, I will be back with another video message. If you have been offended by anything I've discussed in this message today, it's okay, because you will forgive me in the morning.